Good afternoon. We are gathered here today on the traditional territory of Treaty 6, and I want to acknowledge the Métis people who share a deep connection with this land. I'm Nathan Ip, the MLA for Edmonton Southwest and the Alberta NDP Critic for Jobs, Economy and Trade. Today I'm joined by Gurinder Brar, the MLA for Calgary Northeast and Alberta NDP Critic for Small Business, and Shannon Phillips, the MLA for Lethbridge West and the Alberta NDP Critic for Finance, Insurance and Pensions. And pensions are really what brings us here today. We're releasing yet more information about the damage that will be caused by the UCP's plan to gamble away Albertans' pensions. And also to highlight yet another example of Danielle Smith's hypocrisy when it comes to pensions and retirement security. Shannon will have more on that in just a minute. Workers and businesses have been ringing alarm bells for months now, telling the UCP about the overwhelming risks of leaving CPP. It is a reckless idea that not only threatens the retirement security of thousands of Albertans, but will drive away good investments, jobs, and economic stability. Recently, the Alberta NDP official opposition received an internal bulletin written by the National Payroll Institute outlining its concerns with leaving CPP. The National Payroll Institute has been in place for more than 40 years, and today boasts more than 40,000 members. The Institute provides wide-ranging advice to businesses, workers, and also does research in the field and offers courses to students at several post-secondary institutions. The letter that we released to the media this morning was sent out to NPI members last month. According to the letter, 95% of the Institute's own membership are not convinced the UCP's plan has any benefit to them. And the letter specifically states the following, quote, an APP, Alberta Pension Plan, could considerably limit Albertans' work opportunities, out-of-province career growth, and retirement options. It says such a plan would pose significant complications for workers moving to work in other provinces or retiring outside of Alberta. It also states, quote, an APP could negatively affect all pension recipients, including those in Alberta, and says APP recipients risk receiving less than those in the CPP. These are issues that the Alberta NDP and so many others have been warning the government for months. I will now pass the mic to Gurinder to speak more about the impact to businesses.
Thank you, Nathan. Small businesses across this province are deeply concerned about what the UCP's risky pension scheme will mean for them and their employees. Since the very beginning, Albertans have been worried about the UCP's plan to gamble their pensions away. The letter from the National Payroll Institute is further proof that this plan guarantees nothing but more pain for small businesses in the form of increased costs and administrative burden for business owners. The Institute says that the UCP's plan would, and I quote, come at a great cost for employers, payroll services, and software developers. They go on to share the research that demonstrates how increasingly complex payroll can create significant losses to employers and Alberta's economy. The Institute continues to list the risks associated with the UCP's pensions gamble, including, quote, a disproportionate impact to small businesses, and significant investments to reprogram systems and retrain staff, all of which is harder for small business owners to implement and afford, especially when many of them handle payroll themselves. Gambling away Albertans' retirement security won't just directly impact seniors who are enjoying the benefits of their retirement, but will compromise the future of young Albertans too. It is clear that the UCP's pension gamble would stifle economic growth in Alberta and discourage employers from investing in this province. We cannot understand why this government is bent on making decisions that would damage Alberta's economy and burden small business owners and employees with unnecessary red tape and higher costs. Albertans deserve a government that is focused on the priorities that matter to them, and unfortunately, the UCP has yet to meet the bar. I will now turn things over to Shannon to showcase yet another example of Danielle Smith's hypocrisy when it comes to pensions.
Well, thank you, Gurinder, and thank you, Nathan. Good afternoon, everyone. And before I begin my remarks, I'd like to turn your attention to the screen here. The video you're about to watch features the one and only Danielle Smith talking about pensions.
Speech also bragged about the agreements with teachers and doctors, but mentioned nothing about the blindside hit that's coming to our frontline public sector unions with new pension legislation that is taking place this fall unilaterally. PC government has once again resorted to bullying our public sector unions rather than negotiating in good faith. Instead of getting a deal on pension reforms through tough but fair negotiations with union leaders, the PCs are again bringing down the legislative hammer, potentially smashing apart pension arrangements that thousands of Alberta frontline workers have built their future plans on. They're now going for broke with these premature and unnecessary changes to pension plans that will impact 200,000 workers. Instead, we have the traditional PC, we know best, keep your advice to yourself approach. This government offended our frontline workers with Bills 45 and 46, and now they're upsetting hundreds of thousands of employees and pensioners by unilaterally messing with their retirement plans. The government is going absolutely in the wrong direction on this, which is why I support the motion to refer this to committee. Let's wait until the Freedom of Information requests come back. Let's wait until we get the actuarial studies in June. And let's make sure that we're not trying to solve a problem that is already going to solve itself. But now, I'm afraid the government has absolutely zero credibility in trying to light their hair on fire, claiming that there's a problem when we have the evidence of employers like the AUMA, AMDNC, and the 5 main unions with actuarial studies that prove the exact opposite. So I'm just not prepared to support a piece of legislation on the government's word. I'm afraid that their word has not demonstrated to have much value over the last couple of years of government. The throne speech also bragged about the agreements with teachers and doctors, but mentioned nothing about the blindside hit that's coming to our frontline public sector unions with new pension legislation that is taking place this fall unilaterally. PC government has won.
So as you can see, Danielle Smith once stood up as a vocal critic against unilateral changes to Albertans' retirement security and the foregone income that they pay into as part of their pension. But now she's championing a plan that would fundamentally compromise the financial future of every Albertan and every Alberta business, as we just heard. Back in 2014, Danielle Smith opposed the then PC government's approach to pension reform for public sector workers. She criticized them for not consulting with workers. She argued that consultation was necessary because we needed to hear from those who were affected by this. And in fact, she was a vocal proponent of sending this bill out to town halls, which in fact then happened about a month later in January of 2014. But fast forward to today, and Danielle Smith refuses to meet with a single Albertan in person. She's perfectly comfortable gambling away their retirement security, creating enormous burdens for business owners, and inviting significant economic risk for Albertans, young and old. In 2014, the Premier called the PC's proposed pension legislation a, quote, blindside hit, and it was. Now, I argue that that's what she's doing right now, blindsiding Albertans and gambling away their retirement security. Now, this pension scheme will add complexity, it will add burdensome costs, it will stifle economic growth, it will limit work opportunities for Albertans outside of the province. But here we are in 2023, and it's clear Danielle Smith that must take a long look in the mirror and ask herself what's changed. Now, we've heard over the last couple of months from thousands of Albertans in every public opinion poll, at town hall meetings now where hundreds of people are showing up, and through our own opposition online survey. Thousands of people who've made their voices heard. They don't agree with Danielle Smith's plan for an Alberta pension plan. No one agrees with Danielle Smith's plan for pensions. In fact, even Danielle Smith does not agree with moving forward on a pension plan like this. Danielle Smith does not agree with Danielle Smith. So thank you, and we'll now take any questions you might have.
Thank you. Just a reminder, if you're on Zoom, it's the raise hand function. If you're on the phone, it's *9 to get in the question queue. We'll start here in person.
Sure. So I see that there is a time allocation motion on debate on the pensions. You've been trying to bring forward some amendments that, if this is going to go forward, at least make it a little bit more palatable. What do you think is going on with debate in the legislature?
Well, I can only speak from our perspective as the NDP opposition, and we will stay in that legislature for as long as it takes. We'll stay there through Christmas if that's what it takes to stop this plan for to gamble with our pension security. Albertans have said loud and clear that they do not support Danielle Smith's plan to gamble with their pension. So if it takes us sitting through Christmas to stop the Grinch, that's exactly what the Alberta NDP will do.
And a follow-up, I think, for Mr. Brar on small businesses. The Premier was asked about sort of the software and accounting for business, and she says, oh, well, Quebec already does it. It's easy. People do these things. What would be your response to her for that?
Well, the thing is that that quote of Premier Danielle Smith doesn't come from after consultation with small businesses. I have been talking to small business owners in my riding and across the province, and I have heard them saying exact opposite. They have been opposing it. Their employees have been opposing it, and they have said that it will take lots of investment to create those, to develop those softwares, and the employees are worried that what will happen with their pensions, and that uncertainty is not reflected in what Premier Danielle Smith is saying, and small businesses are clearly opposed, and this report that has come out has also shown the exact what we are hearing from small businesses.
Thank you. We'll do one more quick pass for questions. Just a reminder, if you're on Zoom, it's the raise hand function, and if you're on the phone, it's *9. Seeing none, that concludes our press conference for today. Thank you.